what do you know? I've ruined my hair again. Everyone and their dog knows what MovieStarPlanet is, or perhaps was. I feel like you were either a Moshi Monster kid, a Club Penguin kid, or a MovieStarPlanet kid, or you were all three and there was no in between. Those were like the holy trinity of internet social children's games when we were kids. And for all of you that are going to be in the comments like, but what about bin weevils? But what about Webkins? Shut up! No one cares! Get out! My best friend has actually been begging me to cover this topic for like months now, so thank you for giving me this idea. I love you so much. If you live under a rock and simply just don't know what MovieStarPlanet is, it ran the internet back in the day. A site designed for kids and young teens to make their own avatar, star in their own movies, and make friends on the website. And the game still holds up to this day. I myself don't play it, but the friend who recommended me this video absolutely does, and I think it could be a problem. But it will forever be truly iconic. But despite all this, the game, like every other game aimed at children, has a pretty horrific dark side attached to it. So today I thought we could have a look at MovieStarPlanet and talk about the controversies surrounding it. Yes, I'm going to talk about the hackers, okay, don't worry. While also having a cute trip down memory lane together. So sit back, relax, and we'll just get straight into the topic. Hey, I don't know what it is, but my mouth is aching when I'm talking today. That's probably not a good sign. So, MovieStarPlanet, also known as MSP for short, so if you hear me saying MSP, I mean in MovieStarPlanet. I'm probably going to mess it up for MLP multiple times in this video. I do apologise. So, MovieStarPlanet was made back in 2009.
That's 16 years ago, by the way.
Which is terrifying, by a Danish company, and the game quickly began to gain popularity all over the world. The game was designed as like an interactive experience, a social media platform before it was a social media platform. Does that make sense? I don't think that made any sense, what I just said. But regardless, you can talk to players, you can make your own friends, you can like do bits. You could just do bits. I don't know how else to explain it. You could create your own movies and like star in it and then have your friends star in it, and obviously the movies were like kind of hard to make. Well, for me, I really struggled making movies on MovieStarPlanet. But you could like decorate your own avatar and you could give it makeup and outfits, and for some reason all of the avatars are like really emo and scene style, which is fantastic. I love that. That was probably my inspiration as a young child. The game also included in-app currency, which we all know how that ends up going wrong. As well as a membership package which was called VIP that could be purchased with real money through like a subscription. And I remember like a years long subscription back in the day was like an arm and a leg. Well, it felt like an arm and a leg back in the day. I don't know. I'd had no concept of money when I was a child. But you could take part in competitions, you could join in daily challenges, and you can level up, and the more levels you had, the more cool you could buy. But the thing is, VIP meant you had access to like so much more stuff, like more than double of what you had access to without the VIP package, which always made me feel really poor. So MovieStarPlanet also had these chat rooms that you could go in and you could just start chatting to absolute randos on the internet, and then you could add them, and then you could make them your best friends, and you could have your own little boyfriend on your profile. Like, it was kind of weird now I'm thinking about it, but it was also brilliant. The amount of people that like fell out because of like the best friends profile is like pretty insane. You could also have your own pets in the game, kind of like on Moshi Monsters. I think you could have your own pets on there as well, like the little moshlings. But this game was ridiculously engaging for young audiences, myself included, because I'm not being funny. I'd sit there for hours on end at this game. I can't remember any of my usernames because I was the type of person that instead of remembering my passwords, I'd just make a new account. I absolutely loved picking outfits and going through the hairstyles and, you know, dressing myself up with the coolest clothes, even though I look like shit because I couldn't afford the VIP package. But regardless, it was still a pretty fun game. Made for children. The game is made for children, targeted at children, and when a game is targeted at children, you get weirdos. Always. That is the case. Where children hang out, weirdos will be there. So as you can imagine, this game does come with its controversies and its problems, so we'll get into those. So, of course, like anything to ever exist online, referring to Rule 34 here again, 34? What? Referring to Rule 34 again here, there is always NSFW content attached to it. But in the chat rooms, there wasn't a load of filters. There was filters, but there wasn't loads. Say, for example, Roblox. Roblox is very, cutthroat with what you can say and what you can't say. So in MovieStarPlanet you could get away with a whole lot more. There was a feature that you could do with your little avatar in these chat rooms where you could get it to do a dance, and lots of users would perform this move with their significant other and it would look inappropriate. It would look like they were doing the deed and they would get weirdly into it. I've witnessed this and I've probably taken part in this from a young age, which is something I never thought I'd be saying on the internet, but a kid's game, mind you, a kid's game. Yeah, of course it has strict rules that like what can go on there and what can't, but there's always a loophole. People will always find a goddamn loophole. You know, people began to use like codes for naughty words and stuff so they can bypass the filters. When you think about it, well, when I think about it, the amount of times where I was in these chat rooms and I was probably communicating with like grown men is really terrifying. That's a really unsettling thing to think about. There were reports of adults actually pretending to be children in these games to gain trust and to groom young players, where some players would unknowingly dox themselves to these predators before realising the danger that they've just put themselves into, because they're kids and they're stupid and they do stupid things. We all do. We've all done it before. And like every other child's game, the fandom can be assholes. Cyberbullying but is probably still a pretty widespread issue on here, with people forming like gangs and cliques and just being to children. Funnily enough, the people that had VIP passes within the game were like the spawn of Satan, because they were always so mean. They would be bullying the poor, which is kind of hilarious, but not really. No, not really. Oh, how I would envy those VIPs. Do you know what? I might just go back and play MovieStarPlanet so I can buy a VIP package just to, you know, heal the inner child within me, to see what it was all about, you know? Of course, there have been many anti-bullying campaigns that have, you know, kind of been pushed by MovieStarPlanet, but, you know, none of them really work. They don't work. You can't really combat bullying when horrible people exist. The game also features everybody's favourite pastime, gambling. The game also relies on like the pay-to-win model. Despite it being free to play, you can only do so much, as mentioned, until the child is crying for mummy's credit card, which is like all fun and games, you know, haha, but the amount of times where I genuinely shed real tears about wanting the VIP package and my mum just flat out refused to get me it. I should have phoned Childline. I'm just kidding, I love my mum. Lucky Dip and the Wheel of Fortune also require players to, you know, make a gamble, if you will, because you gain like randomised rewards from these wheels, and like 9 times out of 10 you're gonna get the reward on there. Sometimes you might get the second worst, but 9 times out of 10 it's gonna be the worst, and that's fine. This is better than nothing, right? You ain't ever gonna win the best prizes on those wheels, I'm sorry. And of course this raises ethical concerns around kids and gambling, but do you know what I have to say about that? 99% of gamblers quit before they win big, guys. I don't make the rules. As well as having gambling options, like mentioned before, the game has in-game purchases, which is all fine until little Jacinta gets hold of mummy's credit card and then they lose their house and their mortgage. I wonder if that's genuinely happened. I doubt it. I mean, like, a kid has probably made a naughty purchase on there, but would it go that far? I don't know. The game would feel relatively unfair to just the regular normal players, which is absolutely the case. That's how these games work. It's how they get money off people, because they give you the bare minimum. They give you peanuts, and then they're like, but if you give me 50 UK British pounds a year, you can have anything you want. Anything. So what do you say? Many young players probably felt quite pressured to buy the VIP membership just to keep up with their friends. But hey, my mum put her foot down. She put her foot down, which, I mean, yeah, fair enough, to be honest. It's just wasted. It's wasted money is what it is. Also, MovieStarPlanet also had a pretty wide issue with glitches and problems with like random unfair banning of accounts. Players would randomly get locked out and banned from their accounts for like absolutely no reason whatsoever, which is world shattering when you're 11 years old, okay? There would also be like just little random glitches like items disappearing or pets and valuable clothing that would vanish from people's inventories. And again, traumatic for small children. This is their real life. Also, some users' friend lists would like randomly disappear from time to time. But now, ladies and gentlemen, we are moving on to the real part, the real nitty-gritty of MovieStarPlanet and what made it so iconic. And this is the hackers. If you don't know, if you've never heard of this, buckle in, okay? This is such an interesting piece of media and I absolutely love it. I think this is what makes MovieStarPlanet so unique and what makes it stand out from Club Penguin, from Rushy Monsters, from Bin Weevils. This is why it stands out. Over the years, so many hacking groups appeared in MovieStarPlanet, which ended up exploiting the game's pretty security system and absolutely traumatised young players, which is great. Who doesn't love traumatising children? If you're still like really confused, like thinking, well, what are you talking about? Well, the first kind of hacker we're going to talk about is the anonymous hackers. Okay, so the anonymous hacker was this person right here. If you see someone with this avatar, you would assume that they were a hacker. These hackers would exploit glitches in the game and in-game currency and the VIP membership. These individuals that would be behind these accounts would often use third-party software or scripts to manipulate the game's data. These hackers would go for like the plain, simple style. Like when you first start MovieStarPlanet, you first create your account, you have like the default outfit choices, right? And this character would be wearing all of those. And in the last 5 years, it's been revealed that Anonymous wasn't actually a hacker. Like, she wasn't really a hacker, but a skilled exploiter who performed exploits before it was popularised. So instead of them, like, genuinely hacking MovieStarPlanet, they were just kind of, like, jumping in the loopholes and getting, like, all the VIP stuff. Now, the anonymous hacker first appeared on MovieStarPlanet back in 2012 on a forum called Little Test, and this was on a UK server, and this was made by a now deleted user. This deleted user that was the anonymous ended up scaring the users by stating that she was a level 1, which means you have access to like barely anything, non-VIP, which was impossible as you couldn't create a forum unless you were level 6. So people are like, well, how is she doing this? How has she created a forum when she's only level 1? Like, what's going on? And for some reason, this was like genuinely terrifying for children. There was fear around people being hacked and losing their accounts. And with what looked to be the appearance of a once deleted user responsible for hackings, you know, this avatar would also appear on the logging screen of MovieStarPlanet. On the UK server, many users would claim that when they logged on with this user on the loading screen, they would be logged out and then hacked. Again, a genuine hacker or just, you know, someone having a bit of fun? I don't know. It's still kind of weird though. The next notable hacker that we're going to talk about is the Dolly hacker. I think she's my favourite for no reason whatsoever. So around 2013 to 2015, players began reporting that their accounts had been mysteriously hacked, wiped clean of their items, or permanently banned from MovieStarPlanet without any warning, just ripped away from them. And this was allegedly because of the Dolly hacker pictured here. Here she is in all of her glory. And despite this hack being really popular, there was very little to indicate that Dolly was ever actually hacking people. Dolly is probably one of the most well-known and more popular hackers within the site, as people would be quite inspired by it and model their own avatar off this dolly hacker when they weren't hackers themselves. It would be very typical to come across a fake dolly in the cafe chat room within the game, but it's actually unknown whether the original dolly hacker actually ever visited the cafe chat room. I don't know why they picked that one in particular. Dolly is not known to have hacked many users, which is probably why we still don't really know if this was a genuine hacker or just someone pulling a prank. And not much is really known about them. Allegedly, Dolly would be able to hack users while the user was still on their account, and she would be able to do this without them knowing, and she would just around on their accounts. And she could allegedly take control of your mouse cursor. There was also a rumour in 2013 that the common dance animation that the dolly would do would be the wave dance, and apparently this was an indicator that she was looking for a new hacking victim. Honestly, right, reading these out loud, it sounds so silly. I'm aware of how it sounds, okay? But can you imagine being a child and this being the thing that keeps you up at night? Because at the time it was genuinely freaky, okay? This was genuinely scary, and I think it gave a lot of Gen Z children trauma. Another hacker is known as Miss Outrage or Madam Outrage, and she was in UK and US servers, and she appeared in February of 2013. And people would say that when they were hacked by Miss Outrage, they would hear screams on their computer, and then after they hear the scream, they would get hacked. Like, this is something out of a horror film. However, there's actually, like, no proof of this. Miss Outrage as well, her little character avatar can also be seen on the login screen. And finally, we have the hacker known as Miss Philly. Again, Miss Philly was known for her resemblance to, like, the basic avatar, kind of reminding everyone of the anonymous hacker. And she was unique because she would be tied with the infamous Twisted Nerve song. You know Twisted Nerve, the whistling Kill Bill, American Horror Story, Tate Langdon, Twisted Nerve, yeah? Yeah. And this song would allegedly play when Miss Philly was around doing her thing. And she would use this song to indicate when someone is about to be hacked. She would supposedly hack into MovieStarPlanet, the system, as well as hacking into people's computers. And she is one of the very few hackers that has been believed to be able to do this. During 2014 and 2015, Miss Philly was known as the most prolific and dangerous hackers within the MovieStarPlanet community due to her having allegedly holding tough grudges, as well as being known for constantly hacking people. And this is just a handful of the hackers, okay? There is a whole wiki list and a whole wiki dedicated to MovieStarPlanet and its hackers. Go and have a nosy, it's very interesting and it's a pretty good read. I feel like it goes without saying that MovieStarPlanet ended up having a lasting impact on children and internet culture as a whole throughout the years because of the sheer iconicness of the game itself. MovieStarPlanet was one of the first games that, you know, children would have access to before they were age appropriate to be on Facebook. Do you know what I mean? So it was like all fun and games. You were able to do the same things you could do on Facebook, but with that little bit of anonymity behind it. I feel like this game was the blueprint for gacha life in a way. Gacha life could never be MovieStarPlanet. Sorry. Despite it facing relatively heavy criticism throughout the years for its security and all of the goes down on there, like the bullying and the money and everything else, the hackers. It does actually work quite heavily with its, you know, moral to protect children, if you will. Many parents have actually referred to MovieStarPlanet to teach children about internet safety, scams and bullying, because children learn a lot on the internet from a young age through games like this. They make mistakes, whereas making a mistake on a website like this is probably going to have less, not saying that it doesn't have consequences, but it's going to have less consequences than something like this happening on Facebook where people have access to more information. It also teaches children how to interact online and, like, you know, get a taste for it. I could say I'm deep in that a little bit, but think about it. I feel like everyone's first interactions on the internet was through one of these games, and it made you the funniest person, the funniest version of yourself that you are today. And yeah, okay, the VIP element of it did make me feel really broke and a lot of other children really sad, but did we stop playing it? No. No, we still played it. It didn't matter. Also, I didn't know this, but when my friend gave me the suggestion for Movie Star Planet, we were at her house and she began showing me the wonderful world of Movie Star Planet music videos. They're so funny. They are so funny. They are like stuck in time, if you will. They show like an era of the internet that is long gone. They are the best pieces of art that I have ever witnessed. But overall, I feel that Movie Star Planet is an internet treasure. I think it is something that is sacred and should be remembered forever in inactive internet culture. Despite its many controversies, it still is remembered very fondly by the children that played it, and fans just ended on moving on to bigger and better games. And yeah, Movie Star Planet does not, it's not played as much as it was back in the day, but it's still there, it still exists, and when you want to go take a trip down memory lane, I suggest you do so. It's so, like, so nostalgic. But that is all the time I have in this video. If you enjoyed, please let me know. If you have any requests, stories, or anything you want to say, leave it down in the comments as I read every single comment. If you want to follow me on any of the social medias, again, the links are in the link tree down below. You can get updates on my personal life, and you can also give me case requests. Every follower is appreciated. You can interact with polls that I post on my story every once in a blue moon, but they'll be there. But yeah, once again, thank you so much for watching, and if you like what you see, subscribe, and if you don't, that's also cool. But until the next video, stay safe.